So, Dan, what did you think of the video that we just saw?
Well, it was something that I'd have to say I had no idea that something like that was related. And it really relates to Indonesia, where I live, as you live here too. And there's the fact that Portugal is so far away. I think it's really, really interesting how the European nature of music can be related into Indonesian culture and things that I believe Indonesians wouldn't know about either. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I had never heard of Conchong. I don't even know how to say it because he said it so many times and then I don't remember now. Chongkrong, Conchong, the name of the music in Indonesia, which is the adopted version of Fado, right? I didn't really know about that. I hadn't heard much about that. I think it's a pretty cool sound. I want to explore it more and definitely like hear it live.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is. I think I've heard bits and pieces when you walk into an Indonesian kampung. You might hear something similar playing, or someone. You go into a warung and then there's someone there playing that music. But yeah, I don't think I know the background like Joe in our lesson tells you about. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Talking about some of the vocabulary words that Joe used in the video, I have a few that I wrote down. I think you wrote down some as well, right? Encapsulated, possessed, derived, and obliged. I guess to talk about derived, that's a collocation. It will always have from after it, right? Derived from. Yeah.
Yeah. So derived is when you derive something from somewhere else. Usually, a synonym could be it originates from, or it's innovated from, almost. So you have an original thing, and then you transform it into something else, but you have to use what you had before to create it. Yes.
And then encapsulated and possessed can kind of be similar. Well, a literal example as a metaphor, these earbuds, whatever they're called, I don't know. These buds are encapsulated within this capsule, right? And we can also say that they are possessed within it, right?
Okay, so possessed is just something you have, right? So if we just be careful, we're not talking about being possessed as in like an exorcism, or we have to get the devil or the demons out from you. That is also a meaning of possessed, but in this case, I believe it's ownership. And then encapsulated, like Dennis said, if you have something like the earbuds inside the capsule, that means it's contained. And then if you encapsulate an idea, that means, like for example, the piece of music can encapsulate the idea, which means the music represents something fully,
right.
I believe.
I would say the Indonesian spirit is encapsulated within Pancasila, something like that.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
It is contained within. Obliged?
Obliged is quite simple, I think. It's just you have to do something, you haven't got a choice. So, for example, if you are obliged to, I don't know, wash the dishes because your parents told you, it means if you say no, your parents might get angry or give you a punishment.
And people often say, I feel obliged to blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they feel like they have to do it. They would be in the wrong to not say this or something.
Yeah, there could be pressures from places like social pressures. If they say no, they will be looked upon badly by people. Yeah, happens a lot in Indonesia, I believe. A lot of obligations, social obligations, like going to a wedding. I think, a lot of Indonesians, I don't think they want to go to the wedding, but they go to it anyway because they're obliged to go because it's their friend. Okay.
Okay. So going into the heavy section, there's a lot of terminology which can, revolving around passed away, which passed away is just a nice way of saying died, right?
Yeah, like moved on to another place, passed. Just be careful not to confuse it with passed out. I'm sure people have said that here, where, their husband is passed out in the back room, but they might have said passed away instead. It's like, your husband's dead? So be careful.
Yeah, that's a huge difference there. Yeah, so yearning for, long for something, nostalgic feeling, and mournful. These are all in the same area category.
They're all related. So yearning for and having a longing for something, to long for something, generally means it's something that you really desire or you miss, perhaps. For example, I'm from the UK, and there are snacks that I cannot get in Indonesia, and I might yearn for them because I really need it. Maybe an Indonesian going to Europe might yearn for rice, right? Too many potatoes in their meals in Europe, so you would have a yearning or a longing for that. But in this sense, I believe it's more like when you've lost something. Often a person, a loved one, you long for that. So actually it's impossible to get it in the future.
Maybe like a brand of cookies or crackers, biscuits that no longer exists.
Yeah.
But, you have a nostalgic feeling of it from when you were a child and you used to eat that thing.
I think it happens a lot with people when it comes to getting into their older age, definitely. So they look back at the old days. It's not the same in my day. My day was fantastic, and actually it wasn't that great. But you have this
just different
vision of or image of the past, which is really fantastic because you're seeing it through. What's the phrase? You're seeing it through tinted lenses, I guess.
Right. Rose-colored lenses.
Rose-colored lenses, yes. There you go. And I'm definitely getting to the age. I'm only 30, but I'm already doing it. These millennials, oh my God, and I'm one of them.
Yeah. The last one is mournful. You mourn for someone who's passed away. Yeah,
I have to say I haven't gone through it myself yet. I'm not sure if you have, Dennis, but this is a very personal experience that you can't teach anyone. So if you've lost a parent or someone close to you, there is I can't really explain it, but a feeling of dread, extreme sadness, loss. I haven't, luckily for me, I haven't experienced that yet, but I will do in the future.
Right, yeah, we're all gonna unfortunately have to deal with that sometime. We can say I mourn for the days of my youth. So it doesn't have to be the death of a person, but it does tend to be associated with a really deep sadness.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, number 3, the next category, burgundy and satirical. I think we can start with burgundy because I brought something we can use, right?
All right, it's in between maroon and red and wine color, all those combinations. There's a famous character in a TV or a movie with Will Ferrell called Ron Burgundy, and I think he's named after that color. Yeah, and his suit is often burgundy colored. Yes, there you go. I didn't realize why that was the case.
I don't know if it is. Yeah. So burgundy's easy. I mean, people argue about colors all the time. Is this Tosca or aquamarine or baby blue or
shady blue?
Yeah, it's just a shade of red. A dark shade of red. Genre, pronounced with a j sound, yeah?
Yeah, I think the pronunciation is slightly different depending on where you're from. I say genre, so it's more like an oh. It's more French, I guess, more nasal. Genre. Some people say the E, but I find it very difficult to say it like that. So a genre is the type of artistic creation, I believe.
Mhm.
So music,
Yeah.
film,
Well, in
television.
Indonesian, they do say genre, I think. They pronounce it with a
Or
G
is-
sound, ge.
Do they? Not genre? No?
I'm not sure. It's either genre or genre. But the point is they do have the word, so they should know the meaning. I guess
Absolutely,
here the important thing is in English, sorry, the pronunciation is a little more je,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, what genre do you like is quite a common question. Yeah.
What genre do you like?
What
movies maybe.
do I actually? Oh, God, put me on the spot.
I'll go first if you want. You think
Yes,
about
please.
it.
Yeah, I have to think.
Okay. So I love sci-fi. For me, one of my favorite genre of film is sci-fi, because I like that a science fiction film can seem like it's in the future. I mean, it is in the future often, but it's actually talking about very current topics. And I think that's when sci-fi is done best. They use the future as a metaphor for now or allegory for now.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the moment. I can say I do enjoy that stuff. Sci-fi is near the top, but now I had a little think about it. I do like war films, things, especially from the 70s and 80s and 90s. They did a lot of films about the Vietnam War, obviously World War II, World War I. We just had is it 1914 or 1917? I don't know the name.
17, yeah.
18 was it?
I enjoyed it.
So we have all of these films to talk about our history, global history as well. It's not just it's not just in Europe. Actually, there's a lot going on around the world, and I do love those movies because it's you can educate yourself while being entertained, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So for the last section, there's only 2 words, and I was thinking maybe we can just use these words in sentences a few different times with each other without actually telling people the meaning. And let's see if they can capture it, you know?
Okay.
Assimilated and cultivate. Do you feel that you have somewhat assimilated to the Indonesian culture here?
I believe I have assimilated into the Indonesian culture because I eat their food, I can speak their language to some extent. I don't get stared at as much when I walk down the street, and I feel part of them. Yeah, I don't feel 100% British anymore. I do feel, an honorary Indonesian to some extent. Yeah.
Good. Do you think, okay, this is an opinion question, and we don't have to get too political, but do you think for someone to assimilate to a culture where they move to and live there, whether temporary or permanently, is a polite thing to do, a respectful thing to do?
When you move to a country, you have to make an effort with the local people, obviously, because it is their home. Often we have a problem in the UK when people come to the UK and don't speak English. It's become a big problem recently. So, because of huge immigration, because it's a very desirable place to live. So, all I can do is repay the compliment and make sure I commit to being one of them without being the same, So, give money back to the community by eating their food, understanding their differences, and making sure they understand mine too.
We can help each other to assimilate.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have to enforce it upon me. It's my responsibility to understand it and acknowledge it.
Okay.
And there are many things that I've had to do to assimilate or engross myself into the
Right.
society. Yeah.
And then we can say, if you living in your country help foreigners assimilate to your country, and then you coming here, the local people here help you assimilate into their culture, this can cultivate a feeling of togetherness. I don't know, we're becoming very hippie now.
Absolutely, yeah. So if we cultivate, we're imagining if we cultivate our land, you have to put a lot of love and work into it. If you're on a farm, we say the best farmers put a lot of work into their cultivation as well, and they get the greatest yields, which means they produce more crops. So if we do this with people, if we cultivate people, companies can do it. You can do it with foreigners who come here, or foreigners do it themselves.
Right.
You can cultivate a society which becomes...
Yes. Companies can cultivate a culture, company culture, right? We talk about that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Dan. Well, that's all the vocabulary words in the video. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I think that was...
I think we covered it all.
I think we did. I'm sorry if we didn't cover everything, because there's quite a lot of words in what Joe said. So if you do have any trouble with any other vocabulary, feel free to check it online. Look for some definitions. A recommendation.
Take the initiative.
Yeah, a recommendation though. Don't translate. That would be my recommendation. Look for a English definition for you to help yourself. Yeah.
Right. Example sentences online.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Great. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.